I'm going to do things a little different tonight because I never go off speeches. I never go off text, but I have just a little bit of text. Is that okay? Is it okay? How many of you are fans of Patrick Henry? Most of you, right? The reason I don't go off of text is because during the Virginia Ratification Convention in 1787, Patrick Henry spoke for an entire day with nothing more than what was in his head. And I figure if he could do 8 hours, I could do 25 minutes. So I'm going to try and do 25 minutes with just a little bit of notes. But anyways, thank you for inviting me here. Matt, thank you. Our federal father wanted to be here tonight, President Obama. Our new federal, are you a part of the federal family? You didn't get the memo? Our federal father wanted to be here tonight, but he couldn't be because he and Congresswoman Maxine Waters were driving an entire busload of Tea Partiers straight to hell. Well, they got there and they couldn't get back because the guy that drives the ferry over the River Styx got laid off while they were there. I'm here all week. Later, when Obama finally got back, he had a meeting with your favorite and my favorite cabinet secretary, Tiny Tim Geithner. Can I get a golf clap? So Geithner and Obama are having a meeting, and they're talking about this and that and the other, and state of the Treasury and the state of our finances and what have you. And they finally come to a resolution. They decide to do something, and just to give you an idea of just how broke we are, what they decided to do was conspire to burn down the White House so they could collect the insurance money. Speaking of our federal family, again, our federal family, I would like to thank them for joining us tonight. You may not think they're here, but trust me, they're here. I'd like to say hello to Leon Panetta. Hello to CIA Director General David Petraeus, and anyone else that may be watching in the eaves or through the tap of our feed on the internet. I have just one thing to say to you. When you actually do come here, the all-you-can-eat sushi buffet is outstanding. Did anybody see the Tea Party Express to Serfdom debate Monday night? Ooh, I hear boos. Hey, I didn't even talk about 9/11. Don't boo. Well, you know the candidates, right? Now, I'm not allowed to talk about any candidates on this stage. Now, how ironic is that? This is because of a rule by the FEC. That's Federal Election Commission. Again, hi. Now, how ironic is that? We're at a Liberty conference, and before I come on stage, Matt hands me a piece of paper and says, Mike, these are the things you can't say. Liberty conference, censoring, FEC, that's where we are. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, in just a brief bit of news you may not have heard today, Governor Mitt Romney of the former governor of the state of Massachusetts has decided to try and raise some money, and in order to try to gin up some support and get people to talk about him, he is offering fans a chance to spend an entire day with Governor Romney. That's first prize. You know what second prize is? Spending 2 days with Governor Romney. Seriously, folks, seriously. The problem we face really is one that I'm sure everyone in this room is aware of, and it is our almighty, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-kind, compassionate federal overlords. Whether they're federal overlords or county overlords or state overlords, really doesn't matter. It's all the same. Our experts have experts. This is the level of micromanagement we live under. And most people don't even think about it. You don't even think about when you get something in the mail telling you, hey, you left your garbage can on the curb. There's a sign, there's a line there. You're 2 feet over it. Really, how does somebody know that? Well, they have people to drive around and they make it their business. So we all live with this gigantic Leviathan, as I like to call it, or Mordor on the Potomac River. Runs us, controls us, tells us what to do. Let me give you a good example. something that's invisible that some of your friends and neighbors and families might go, yay, Michelle Obama, yay. Today, the First Lady, by the way, did you know that the First Lady is not an office listed in the Constitution? Not only is she an office holder, but she has a budget and she has a staff, and guess who gets to pay for it? Don't everybody stand up at once or raise your hand. Yes, you. Well, no, not this crowd, because you guys probably skip out on your taxes. Hey, General Petraeus, I didn't mean that. They're good people. They're good people. Ms. Obama has a meeting today, one of her many meetings, where she meets with her co-conspirators with the food police. We have food police, we have green police, we have post police, we have street police, we have drug police. Ms. Obama meets with the food police today from an outfit called, let me make sure I get it right, the Darden Foods Company. Do you know what Darden Foods runs? About 2/3 of the restaurants that you know by name, Olive Garden amongst them. Well, Ms. Obama, in her almighty, all-knowing wisdom, she is our federal mother, after all, gets together with the Darden Company and decides that over the next 10 years, without consent with their customers, this is what just really stinks about this, without consent from their customers, which are you in this room, they're going to remove 20% of the fat and 20% of the sodium, NaCl, salt, from your diets if you eat at one of their restaurants. Now, there was no choice in this. You could choose, now that you know this, maybe not to eat there, but this is the most ironic or the most disturbing part about this. It is this jihad against fat. Fat is a naturally occurring substance that if children do not digest, have serious problems. Now, we've all seen photographs of our impoverished children whose fat rolls have fat rolls, right? American kids give life to the term muffin tops. And I'm talking about the boys. So is there a problem with nutrition? Well, yeah, there is. Whose fault is that? Yeah, that's right. The gentleman said parents. I don't know, these people that used to control their children's lives and look after them and read their homework and things like that. But we don't need that. We've got federal overlords. We don't need any of these things. I'm just giving you one example here from today. I could have Googled all day long and gone on for 3 hours up here, but you have jobs to go back to, I'm sure, at some point in time, so you can pay all these taxes to continue to fund Miss Obama's office here. This is what it really is disturbing here, though. This woman has no power, no authority whatsoever, and yet you have corporations that get down on their knees and they bow to this. Now, here's the dirtiest little secret, and I'm sure everyone in this room knows. Why would the Darden Corporation do this? I feel like I'm talking like in Resident Evil here. Why would the Umbrella Corporation do this? Because they're in on it. You eliminate the salt, or say you're going to, and somewhere down the line, there will be a nice plum little trinket for you. This is called legal plunder. People in this room don't like legal plunder, do we? Bastiat said there were 3 kinds of plunders. Partial plunder, total plunder, or if he were alive today, he'd say U.S. federal government plunder, and no plunder. We haven't lived with no plunder since around 1820. That's how far back this cancer goes. So with the remaining time that you're going to humor me with tonight, and feel free to gong show me out of here anytime you want, I'd like to take you back in time and talk to you about these guys that we know called the Founding Fathers. Founding parents, founding father, founding generation. Most people know who they are. You probably have your favorite one. I get asked all the time about the Founding Fathers. Mike, what do you think the Founding Fathers would think about this? Well, which part of it are you talking about? It's hard to keep up with a 3.7 trillion headed hydra. Even though I know the answer to that, question, what good would it do to answer it unless we are willing to live and to govern? This is the key thing here. To live and to govern like they did. People love to come to these conferences, and it's a great time. Meet a lot of people you know, and it's good fun. Love to get up here and, yeah, the government sucks, yeah! And it does. It's cathartic. It's good therapy for your brain, for your mind. That's about it. It doesn't change much Who in this room would like to change things, maybe? Why don't y'all clap while I take a sip of water? Well, we can't be bothered to do that anymore because we have smartphones that actually make us dumb. I have a challenge for you, and I actually did this one. This is road tested by Mike Church himself. Turn the spell check off on your phone and see how smart you are. See how smart it is when it won't correct your spelling. This is just one example here of how we are conditioned to think, oh, well, that's a great thing. I have spell check. Is it really? After 2 years of using spell check, you can't spell. Who writes on a tablet anymore? Remember those things, pens and papers? I turned the spell check off. Everything on my iPhone, it's all off, all of it. It took me about 2 weeks to even remember how to capitalize people's names. This is you may think, oh, come on, church, get to bashing Obama. This is a serious, serious problem here. And it's serious because if we're not educated enough to spell and to read and write, how in the hell can we possibly pass something good on to the next generation? Well, we are going to pass on to them how to use a phone, how to use a calculator, or ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pass on to them how to think. Because it doesn't require thinking when that device is calculating for you and spelling for you. Turn off the GPS. Whoa. Come up here, ma'am. I'd like to hug you. Have you seen a store that has a map? What's a map? My children go, Dad, what's a map? What is that? What's a paper thing we used to use to guide or to navigate by? Or maybe you remember somebody in your world history class named Magellan or somebody like that. Magic who? Johnson? What'd you say? I'm kidding. Seriously. We have a serious problem here, and we have to address it. So I want to talk to you tonight a little bit about doing things differently and maybe changing the process of what the men who we all agreed at the beginning of this, founding fathers, like some that you don't even know existed, like John Taylor of Caroline. Anyone in here ever read any John Taylor of Caroline? Probably not very many people. Okay, let's move on. No, seriously, John Taylor of Caroline, one of the great little r Republicans that ever lived. The word Republican is not a bad word. Only when it has a capital in front of it. Unless we're talking about Ron Paul, or Rand Paul, or a few others. To get back to where they were, the way they govern themselves, which I believe is the goal of most people in this room, is it not? Am I overreaching here? Okay. Requires liberty. Campaign for liberty. Matt, John Tate, Ron, Rand, all of them. Theory, thinking, requires all that. But also requires conservatism. Conservatives and liberty folks usually don't like each other. And that's because libertarian folks think that conservatives like me just want to rain on your parade. Oh, fuddy-duddy square, look at you in the suit. You just want to ruin my good time. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Let me start off with quoting John Adams here. John Adams said about liberty, Adams said, let me start over. Adams said, quote, freedom is not the ability to do as you please, but the liberty to do as you ought. That is really powerful when you think about that. You can run around like those nut jobs that were in this hotel last night. Anybody stay here last night? Would you like a refund? I would. Did those 14-year-olds, by the way, where were their parents? You want a snapshot of the end of a civilization, come to the Grand Sierra on Wednesday night, baby. If there's film of this, can you just imagine if that's the last thing the aliens find when they come here 1,000 years from now? And they're going to go, translation, they deserved it. Good Lord, I'd have killed them too. If we'd have got here 1,000 years ago, we would have taken care of this.